What's going on, team? Welcome back to the channel. Now, if you are new here, my name's Chris and I'm building a business to suit my lifestyle. Now, today's video is all about how are we going for FY23. Now, something that is very dear to me that I like to track is all the numbers. And I don't want to overwhelm people with numbers, but I think it's important that we do revisit the numbers on a regular basis. And in today's video, I want to check in for how I've been tracking for FY23. We've passed more than 6 months now into the FY23, and basically, I want to review my numbers with you in full transparent detail of how I've gone for February 2023. So basically, in this video, I am breaking down my income report or my profit and loss statement for February 2023. And I think this is super important because it's going to give me a lot of information that I can obviously do something with, or I can just have an awareness of. But I think it's important that when you go through this process that you take some actions or you take some information that's going to enable you to better your business. Of course, if you too want to understand these and you want to do this for your own business, of course I'll try and break it down as best as possible, but I will say that this is not a financial advice for yourself. If you need help with this, you need to ask or seek professional help. That might be through an accountant or working with someone that can help you get to where you need to be. Again, I'm just sharing my numbers and what's working for me or what's not working for me, and I want to make sure that that's very clear. Of course, if you stick around to the end, we will jump into some show and tell, and I'll give you some updates on the business and how I've tracked for this week as well. Let's dive in. So what is my month-end process? Well, essentially I do 1 to 4 different things. First one is understanding what is my current landing position. I then actually go through and validate these numbers. I also check in for the actual financial year. I usually do this on a quarterly basis, to be honest. And I then have a look and think, well, what now? So the first thing being understanding my landing position. So how have we actually gone for February 2023? And I use a standard profit and loss statement, and I have a free version of this. If anyone's interested in it, you can use it for yourself. And I basically just put all my numbers in it to understand where I'm at that point in time. Of course, this is purely just for February. Now, looking at this, it doesn't look too bad. There's a lot of green. Obviously, there's expenses. And from a top level, it looks pretty good, you know, $9,782 in revenue, but there's a lot of costs that have gone into this month. And that's because I'm expanding the business, but we're going to break that down and help you understand a little bit better. So as I gather and accumulate this information, as you can see, I've got the revenue, I've got the cost of goods sold, I've got the gross profit. I've also got, you know, costs around printer, post supplies. There's things there from storage, marketing, software, post costs and fees. Now there's some really big ones here as well. And of course then what I'm left with, which is my operating profit or my margin, which is about $2,900, which technically is profit back into the pocket, but a lot of this I do put back into the business as well. So the first thing that I want to call out is I track all this information on a daily and weekly basis, which means it makes it very easy to be able to pull into this sheet. But from this, I can now quickly look back and say, okay, well, what were my big hitters here? What was really bleeding me dry of end result cash? And it comes down to post. That's about 25% of my monthly revenue. Fees cost me about 16.8%, which is it's up there. And cost of goods this month was a lot higher than standard, being about 14%. Now, there's a couple of reasons for this. I am selling more. I'm selling a lot more volume than I've ever sold before, and we're going to touch on that shortly. But my cost of goods, I've been experimenting with new types of products and trying to go really hard with the clothing and testing that process, which means I've had to spend up and I've had to invest a lot more into the business to be able to see what's going to work for me in the long term. Also, post supplies, I didn't call out it in the post. I'm talking about transactional costs of actually posting, and I've been doing a lot of express posts as well, just to keep customers happy and testing if that's making a huge difference. But I also paid up with post supplies this month because usually on a quarterly basis, I buy in advance and I actually stock up, because the more you buy from Australia Post, the cheaper it gets. So I do it in bulk. But when you take into consideration these different expenses, it's actually quite crazy to see how quickly things drive and make a big change to your business. So why does this matter? Well, 2 things to consider here is, 1, can we actually control or change these expenses and bring down, I guess, the impact to the bottom line? How can I, change the fees? How can I change the costs that I have to occur on a regular basis? Maybe I shouldn't be offering express postage. Maybe I should be just doing standard. What difference does it make? Or maybe I only need to do express postage for people in certain locations within Australia because they're further away. So different things like that might actually start to make a bit of a change. The other thing to consider is that these costs that I've called out around the postage, the fees and cost of good, these are all bread and butter to the business. You have to pay them. Like, majority of the time we cannot sell without a cost of good. Majority of the time when we sell, we have fees, and majority of the time when we sell, we have a postage cost. That's just the reality of it. So with all this in mind, how does this actually land in comparison to this financial year to date? And this is what I like to call validating the numbers. So one thing I like to do to keep myself in check and to pulse check my current position is to do a compare of my average baselines for this financial year so far. So in this example, what I'm going to share is my February 2023 results, asking the question, is this in par or is it plus or negative compared to my average month in FY23? Now, this is my average month for FY23, as you can see on screen, and then I'm going to put my month of February up on screen as well. So as you can see, from a top level, it actually looks pretty good. Again, revenue's up there, it's like not too bad, but there is some points here that are leaking. There are some points here which, again, I need to be very mindful of. From an average perspective, it doesn't look too bad, but from a profit perspective, I'm actually down by about 12.7%, which, again, I have higher costs, fees and posts, and that's something I need to look at to manage, but at the same time, my volume is higher. I'm up by 125% in February. Average was 261 for the year of sales, and I did 327, which that naturally comes with more fees, more postage costs. But the thing here that has hurt me the most is it's been a lower ASP. I've been moving out a lot of older stock. There's been a lot of DVDs, a lot of VHS and books that I've been wanting to move simply because it's been sitting around. Now, if that does not move, it's probably going to get culled, meaning donated, which means I'm better to get some dollars back than no dollars, as long as I'm covering the cost to sell. Spoke about that the other week. So that's some things here that I need to consider, because obviously it is impacting my margin. So why does this matter? Well, the reason why it matters is for you, it doesn't necessarily matter from what I've showed you, but if you're doing a similar analysis, you might want to ask yourself these questions. 1, are there costs that I can lower? And 2, how can I increase my operating profit and margin? At the end of the day, we do this to make money. We do this to make a living. Some of us are doing it as just a bit of cream on the top, whether you're full-time or part-time, we're doing this to make money. So with that in mind, the next thing that I like to do is then check in comparison to how am I tracking for the entire FY or the entire financial year. And the year is tracking pretty good. It's not too bad. We're post halfway, meaning we're in the final stretches now, but I expect that we're going to land probably somewhere between $85,000 and $100,000 plus in revenue. This is what it looks like at this point in time. This is actually where I basically was at the end of last financial year, essentially. So I'm pretty happy with this. It means I'm way ahead of where I was last year, which is exciting. So yeah, I might not have a huge operating profit, but if I end up doing another 40,000, I should end up doing pretty good as just a pretty basic wage, which I'm very happy because I've built this from scratch, been doing it, figuring it out, learning as I go, and that is the journey that I love so much. Of course, there's so much more that I can improve. There's lots of costs here that I can manage and different levers and tweaks that I can make to do better. One thing that I was really focusing on for this financial year was managing my fees, my sell-through rate, and my expenses. My fees, I'm down. Last year I averaged 18.6% fees. This year it's about 16.8%, so that's good. Sell-through rate, I'm currently about 33.91% sell-through rate of the stuff that I've purchased and sold in FY23. So I've got a little bit of wriggle room that I need to do there. And then from an expense standpoint, I'm up big time. And the main driver for this is actually storage. That was not part of my assumptions or analysis when going into this financial year, but it happened. It's a good problem and it enables me, but it's something that I really need to consider. So with all this information, everything that we've just discussed, what now? What does this all this mean? What can I do with it? Well, the reality is this. If you do this part-time or if you do this full-time, these numbers tell a story, and they're important because you're still going to need to use them for tax time at the end of the financial year. They help you see where you're spending up, and they also help you see where you might need to be spending some attention to keep things managed. Of course, there is that theory that if you want to make more money, the theory is you need to sell more items, but this isn't entirely true because there's underlying factors of how we manage under the hood, meaning how much profit we actually make, because when you sell something, it's got to go through the machine and the cost to sell. So we can increase our margin by either lowering our OPEX or increasing our sale price. Even better if you can do both. If you can lower your operating expense and increase your sale price, that's when you're going to get some really good results. The other thing to consider is other overheads that you have in place. Now for me, I have a huge overhead of my storage unit, but it enables me to sell more, it enables me to work better, and it's working for me, and it's enabling me to save time at this point. But in the long run, is it going to be financially substantial or sustainable? That is probably the big thing I need to start asking. But if I can start to sell more at a higher price, maybe I can even that out a little bit. But these are all things you got to consider, and I'm not giving you the answer. All I'm saying is there's information there that's now available to you. Obviously these are my numbers, you need to do it for yourself, and you can start to see maybe you can make some tweaks or fine-tune some things to save some dollars. I hope that's been helpful. That is my transparent overview and income statement of my profit and loss statement for February 2023, which is quite it's actually quite rewarding to have a look and see how the progress has happened. Now, if you stuck around this long, we're going to dive into what's been selling for the week and a business update for the week, and also if you stick around, I've got some show and tell. Let's dive in. So what has been selling for this week? Well, there's some interesting items here that I want to take you through, which is pretty cool. The first top item for this week was this Nintendo Animal Crossing Amiibo series card folder and album. This one cost me on average around $13.89, but now to sell it to overseas to the US for $104.65, walking away with $62.85 back into my pocket after fees and postage. Top item number 2 for this week. This one came quite randomly, actually the same day I was sending out this Nintendo Animal Crossing. It's called The Art of Gareth Koch Guitar Anthology. I have no idea about this. I picked this one up for a couple of dollars, $2.71 to be exact, from just a local op shop. It was sealed. I'm like, let's give this a go. Sold it for $71.87. That includes postage, and it's gone overseas to the US, and I've walked away with $46.76 after fees and postage. The next one is some Lego Star Wars Obi-Wan's Jedi Interceptor. Now this one is why it's important to go through your dev pile. I've had this sitting for probably about 3 months, just taking my time to get to it. It's cost me $5 as an average cost of good. I listed it, sold within a couple of days, $72 after fees and postage. I've walked away with $44.90. It was a simple list and get out there and get it happening kind of thing. I just hadn't done it. And that's why you need to be going through reviewing what stock you have to see what quick wins you have. And the fourth item, which will actually be coming up in a video soon, is a Fred Perry Gingham long sleeve shirt. Now this one, Carla actually found it in Savers. We picked it up for $5.61, but now to sell it for $52.32. That's actually gone international, and walked away with $27.59 after fees and postage. Not too bad. In terms of what actually has been selling, I have been running a few different sales this week, coming into the end of Feb and being the start of March. DVDs have been the big winner for this week. As you can see, I've been selling a lot, and the ASP on these has been around $10.31, 65 DVDs going out. Clothes has then been the next big bread winner, followed by books and Lego and video games, and you can see the rest there. Not many jeans and pants this week, but clothes still considering to be a big competitor for what's really paying the bills at the moment, and I'm so grateful that I actually took the initiative to jump into this category, because it's bringing in an extra $700 to $1,000 every week at this point. So how has the week actually progressed? Well, we've done 122 sales. That is my most sales I've ever done, which is incredible. A lot of it DVDs, but still very exciting to be able to see that progress. Margin very low this week because we've sold a lot of DVDs, of course. Cost of goods has been $501. And also, just to re-clarify, the margin also is because I've been selling some higher ticket cost of good items, and just selling them with a quick volume, and I'm testing that's more so with the clothing, as you can see, but yeah, the margin was around 36.75%. Cost of goods $501.50. We sold $2,641 worth. Profit was only $970, so not huge. ASP $21, a lot lower than what it's been over the last couple of weeks. That's been averaging around the 29 to 35. Cycle time for some of this stuff has been 103 days, so it's good to get some of that older stuff out. And yeah, that's really how the week's been. So if you stuck around this long, let's dive into some show and tell. Alright team, it is Monday 27th of Feb. It's been a busy morning, 59 sales going out, lots of DVDs and stuff, and clothes and books. Been running a 30% markdown sale for all DVDs and all books, just to start clearing out some stuff because I need to make more room for all the clothing. It's taken me 28 minutes to get all this out, probably a bit longer than I wanted. Had a few issues with a few of the older stock stuff, so which is a good thing why I'm getting rid of it. But we've got like White Dwarf going out, we've got this going out, we've got The Sound of Music that's gone out. Carla got that one. A few different things here, a few more books and VHS, some Thomas, lots of books here. This is not to one person, this is just in general. Here there's a whole bunch of movies. These are all bundled up in different lots, so some there was, I think the max bundle was 9. All this clothing, we've got shirts, jeans, more shirts, we've got some Lego, more, not that, I just put that to the side. This is all clothing going out, guys, just all this stacks, BHS, the Thomas I showed you. So it's pretty crazy full on. And as you can see, we're getting pretty tight in here. So it is what it is. As I said, it did take me a little while to get all this out. 28 minutes to be exact for 59 items. And yeah, it's almost 2 minutes an item, but there was a few things that I had to shuffle around just because it is old dead stock, so that's why we're getting rid of it. It's time to pack it all up. I'm tired. We did, however, go to Salvo's this morning, and we got 15 pairs of clothes. Pretty happy with this. This one was pretty cool to find, actually. Pretty happy with this. This is a cool find. So not too bad. Don't know if it's worth much, but still. Got some pretty cheap stuff there. So average cost of goods was $7 for a pair of clothing. Average sale price for clothing at the moment is between $30 and $40. So that's my ASP that I'm aiming for. So should be some quick dollars there. All right, let's pack it up. All right, team, we are done. It's taken 2 hours and 12 minutes to get all of this done. It actually worked out to be 60 packages because I had a couple more sales. Actually, one more sale come through while here. So I'm pretty cooked. Yeah, I need to get going. Yeah, that's all I've got to say. With growth comes obviously more challenges of timing and getting things better, and this is why it's so important that you have processes right. Definitely have learned a few things in the amount of things that I've had to process today. There's definitely some room for improvement with some areas, so this is good. It's all good. Anyway, appreciate you. Alright team, it is Thursday and we've got 49 packages. We've actually just hit a new milestone. I don't know if you can see that really well, but we've got 49 packages. There's actually 50 if the person pays. We've got heaps going out. We've got this guy going out for $106. It's got a whole bunch of Amiibo cards in it. We've got clothing galore going out, some North Face. We've got all these different shirts, shorts. I think there's a pair of jeans in there. All these DVDs. We've got book, Aaron Williams, some Lego. We've got a whole bunch of VHS, a whole bunch of books. We've got more VHS, some more books, a couple of video games, and we've got a Guitar Hero going out as well. So pretty happy with this. As you can see, things are getting pretty full in here. We're now down to the last. This is going to get all shuffled out, bring everything across. Lots of work. This is a good problem. When you grow, you got to continue to expand and grow. So things are moving quickly, which is good. Yeah, let's pack it all up and get cracking. Carla's here, she's doing some work, and yeah, took us 19 minutes to pull out basically 50 items. Things need to get better in some areas. Alright team, we're all done. We ended up doing about 51 packages, might have been 52, 1 hour and 55 minutes to do pick, pack and post. When I say post, I mean to get it over there. We're all tired now. Yep, we're gonna pack it up and get out of here. So yep, just keeping you updated. I'm exhausted, so gonna have to start doing this on a more regular basis and not in batches on Monday and Thursday because I'm a cooked bunny. Ciao. Really do appreciate you being here. If you do have any questions, comments, thoughts, chuck them down below. More than happy to continue the conversation. It's been a good week. I'm always curious to see how the next week goes. Once you finish 1 week, especially if it's been a good week, this has been a pretty good week. So I'm excited to see where we trek on into March. What will be interesting is this week the RBA meets again for interest rates. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Anyway, hope you're doing well. Hope you've had a solid week, and let's rock and roll. Appreciate you being here. Cheers.